Hey, it's like we're live.
Hey, we are.
Hey, everybody. Let me pull up my comments here. We should be able to see your guys' comments. If you even have, now it's dawning on me, Gary, that I don't know that they even know where to go to make comments. So maybe we can keep this simple for tonight and just have them post in the Facebook group. But hey, I want you to say something about the Facebook group. But before we do that, I want to say something about my friend Gary Miller. I'm so excited that he's here with us tonight. I'm so excited that he's here, period. Gary and I have been friends for a few years now.
Yeah.
And did you, I think you grabbed me, didn't you, about this?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. You reached out and gave me a hard time, said something funny, something offbeat.
Probably.
You punched me in the face, and then I punched you in the face. And
totally.
And you're like, okay, I'm in.
That's how you recruit.
Right. So the whole content for you guys tonight, we just covered it. You punch your friend in the face, they punch you back, and then you enroll. So I think we're good. I think we're good to go. No, anyway, so quick intro to Gary. I think some of you guys have seen him around the group. He and his wife, Crystal. We've been friends for years. These are I would call them high caliber friends of mine, accomplished friends of mine. And I love how they think. I love how they behave. I love everything. Plus we're twinsies. So there is that. So anyway, Gary and his wife Crystal helped. Actually, they handled the reorganization of the Facebook group just a few days ago. Carter, you want to say hi? There's my 9-year-old. Hey, here he is. I think he's doing some Amazon shopping and wants to show me what he's found.
Nice.
So, Gary, can you hop in and talk for a minute about what you did in the Facebook group, and then also help everybody understand where to put comments, questions, things like that for us here on this live?
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks, Christian. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Happy Thursday night to you, wherever you are. Let's cover some quick housekeeping on the Facebook group. I did a quick video about it last weekend, but I want you to know the intention. And the intention was to clean things up a bit so it was easier for you to find stuff. I don't know about you, but in my world, I like simple. Simple's great. And when you got a question, I just don't like to have to dig through 40 resources to get the answer. I want to get right to the answer. And so that's what we had in mind when we cleaned things up and really subdivided things out into threads. But I want to encourage you tonight, especially for a Q&A, our Q&A time here at the end of this webinar, but for this whole session and as we go forward, listen, just because there's threads doesn't mean you have to never post again. Stay active, stay engaged, and know that there's certain spots for certain things, and that'll help you. It'll help your team members, your customers, and everybody else. So, but understand, every one of those threads is open. Whether you got a question or a thought about training, go to the training thread and let it rip. If you've got something about products, we've had a bunch of people in there posting great testimonials about these products. And I was joking with my team earlier today. I don't think I've ever been so kind of giddy about products ever in my experience in this industry. And I find myself talking about products. It's weird. So, get in there, use those things, chat it up in there and put your thoughts, your comments, your questions. And for all of you, whether you're brand new and you've been in this thing for 5 seconds, or you are one of the heavyweights in here who's a network marketing pro and been rocking it out, it's everybody's opportunity to step into a little bit of leadership. You see a team member that's got a question on one of those threads, step in there and answer it if you got a great answer and help them, because that's what we do here. And I think you've already seen that. So be active in that Facebook group. Just because it's categorized now, don't be scared. It's good. You can keep on posting stuff. And for tonight, so I did a post earlier, had a big text. It was red and white background. It said live. If you've got questions about some of the stuff we covered tonight, you've got thoughts, you don't like my haircut, you think something's crazy, hey, listen, put it in that comment thread and we will get to those sometime tonight. Christian and I are of a shared mentality that the world of home business does not need another long webinar. However, disclaimer, tonight might be a little bit longer because we've got some stuff to set kind of a foundation for it. It's our first time really getting together in this kind of format. So we may go a little bit longer tonight, and it'll be worth it, I promise you. And make sure that you're posting on that thread. Okay, Christian? back to you.
Okay, good stuff. Well, let's dig right in. Let's start by having a conversation about what Melaleuca is and what it is not. And I think every point you and I have in mind tonight, it comes from you've enrolled a bunch of people, I've enrolled a bunch of people. We've talked to family, friends, networkers, kind of the whole gamut. So in our experience, what a lot of these things that come up all the time are some of the very first things we want to address on this hangout. This will become a resource as long as I don't blow it too badly here tonight. This will become a resource that'll live in the team site and serve people moving forward. So let's start by talking about what Melaleuca is and isn't. And I just want to get us started, Gary, by actually stealing from you, because when we were first talking about this, you looked at it hard. I think you might have enrolled a couple people immediately, and then you sent me a message and said, dude, this is relevant. It's sensible. It's simple. Something like that. You sent me that message.
Yeah.
I'm listening to this message on my phone going, oh, yes, I'm totally stealing that. And then I wrote an email to my list.
It's okay. I steal your emails too. It's good.
But it evokes these descriptive words and phrases that we're not used to in this whole home business scene that we've been in for so many years. I'm not used to anybody remotely saying anything like, wow, this is relevant.
Right.
And that's terrible, isn't it? I mean, it should help us understand. It's instructive for me because I look back on all the things that I've done. I think most or all of us, we mean well. We're well-intentioned. We get excited about an idea, a comp plan, an owner, a product, whatever, and we just charge in. And I think a lot of times if we had taken a couple steps back and looked at the bigger picture, we might have gone, this doesn't seem very relevant. This doesn't actually make any sense.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't for average families, if what we're excited about doesn't fit and serve regular people, then we're setting ourselves up for a tough road, and probably a road that doesn't involve much in the way of residual or leverage, really. How about duplication? What do you have to say about that?
Well, it's what a segue. Did you hear him segue me, y'all? Did you see that right there? What about that? No, but let me say it this way, real quick off of Christian's point. For the longest time, I promoted things that if I tried to explain it to a normal person that was not in this bubble of biz op, home business, MLM, whatever, if I tried to explain it to them, they would have thought that I was speaking 3 different languages at the same time and needed a translator. You couldn't explain it. Or if you tried to, it would take like 3 hours and 4 easels, right? And so a lot of you know what that's like. For a long time, you either promoted or shared something that if you were really honest with yourself, you're like, I have no idea what's going on right now. I don't know what's happening. This could be something, it may not be. But what was interesting about what you have inside of Melaleuca now, and I want you to understand this, because it breeds confidence. When you understand the surety of the ground you're standing on, you will have confidence to go where you want to go. And so the reality here is that this is something that if I'm at one of my daughter's dance recitals and I'm sitting next to another parent, I can just talk about without it either being pitchy, slimy, or weird.
Yeah.
And that's a good feeling. That's what you have now, simply because everything in this product suite, if you will, are normal, regular, consumable items that everybody's using, right, Christian? I mean, I use 6 of them before I even get to the kitchen in the morning, right? Body wash, toothbrush, whatever. So that makes your whole posture, it makes your whole discussion so much easier, because it's just real. I mean, we don't have any problem talking about soap because everybody knows if you ain't using some soap, you're going to get funky. All right. So we can all relate to that. And that is what you have. And what I think that sets, again, Christian, is firm ground. It's a lot easier to go out and share something with the world if you got your legs underneath you, versus you trying to go share something with the world and you're kind of wobbly because you still don't even know what the thing is.
Right. That cuts to a really interesting rabbit trail I want to go down real quick. You and I both have friends that reach out to us who have enrolled with us. Maybe I shouldn't implicate you in this. I know I have people that I've been friends with kind of online for a while, and I have the sense that they've got one foot in the door and one foot out. They don't really quite understand what they have. And some of the commentary I see coming my way is these questions like, or a statement like, I don't really want to talk to people I know. So can you tell me about the tech? I really want to know about the tech. And my response has been, wait. Hold on. We have some problems. If you have actually gotten your box and you've been through some stuff, you've seen the Pacesetter. Oh, wait, you haven't seen the Pacesetter video. Oh, you haven't seen any of the Learn to Earn videos. Oh, you haven't really engaged here. Well, no wonder you have one foot in the door and one foot out. There are some basics that we take people through. You and I were just talking about this a few days ago, the steps, like how we request or ask everybody to get started. We have everybody take the same steps, the same process. It'll take you through those fundamentals and they'll look and help ground you, help you understand what you have. If you don't come out the other side of that experience going, oh man, this is like the easiest, this is like kindergarten. Everything I did before was somewhat complicated at least. And I had to really figure out an angle. How am I going to hit Gary? You and I have some funny stories about approaching each other in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
When you really have to think hard about an angle. Okay, he is going to give me a hard time, seriously. This is pretty straightforward. If you don't feel that way and you find yourself while you're watching here tonight in a mindset where you're like, I don't really want to talk to people I know, we got to fix that. You are messed up. And all the tech in the world is not going to save you.
That's right. That's right.
That's a rabbit trail we didn't plan to go down, but
you asked me about duplication though, and I think it blends into this. Let me give everybody a stat here and take this for what it is. But I've been rolling with you with this, Christian, for about 40 days ish, plus or minus. Just inside of my group, okay, I've seen more just raw duplication across many members in 40 days than I saw in 3.5 years in my last deal. Okay.
But you didn't recruit anybody in your last deal. So.
Oh yeah. Didn't recruit anybody. Right. So, and to give you some context there to Christian's great sarcasm, in the last deal, Frontline sponsored hundreds. Okay.
Hundreds.
And that's with an S. And so to see more duplication in 40 days because of exactly what Christian just said, this is simple. And if you are getting into these resources that we're getting ready to talk about a little bit here, when it comes to your getting started area and your business center and your Learn to Earn and Pay Center, it's almost impossible for you not to come out on the other end of that if you're really paying attention and not realize, well, shut the front door. This is a lot simpler. And I can talk to those people next to me. I remember hearing a leader back in the day, Christian, if I mentioned his name, you'd know him. He said, your fortune's walking past you every day when it comes to network marketing. But before, you couldn't really have that conversation because it was weird, because you were selling a widget or a platform or whatever the thing was, and you couldn't make sense of it. Now you can have a much more sensible conversation about a sensible set of products. And guess what? Even your brand new person who's fresh into this thing and doesn't know anything can go do the same thing. And when that happens, you actually have that mystical unicorn of duplication. And when you have duplication, friend, well, now you're going to start having a check that actually matters and keep showing up. Yeah. And that's a whole different world than where most of us have come from.
Yep. Totally different. I see Scott. I'm going to call you out. Well, you called yourself out, Scott, in the comments. Guilty as charged.
Hey, it's all good. All of us.
It gets the best of us, and I understand. Totally understand arriving at this point in your 5, 10, 20-year journey where you've been beat up. Your friends have all been beat up, probably by you, and you're going, I'm just. Did you say something about tech? Because I really don't want to talk to people I know. But seriously, this in case, so here Gary Miller is one of the top recognized builders in the Midwest region, right?
Yeah.
2 months in a row. Basically, since you stepped foot in the door, you've been on the highest part of the radar, double advancing in your first month. And somebody in the group might look at Gary and Crystal and go, "Ooh, what are you doing? What's your secret?" And I get that too. So I get, how are you doing? How are you doing this? Rolling people left and right. And our answer, both of our answers, and Crystal too, if she were here, she'd say the same thing. I'm talking to people I know. I'm firing on all cylinders, actually, I think is the answer. I do everything. If they come within earshot, I'm blabbing about the brand. Or whatever I think is most appropriate. And we'll get to approaches here in a minute and actually give you guys some stuff that you can take action on right away. But it's this, like I'm going for it. There is no halfway. You're either on it and running, or I'm not touching it. At least that's how I'm wired. And I think you're the same way.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's you and I have joked over the years, and some of our friends as well, that, and it's one of those jokes that's not really a joke. It's to build in any company, but particularly in this one. I'll tell you, if you want to do this slow, it's going to hurt a little bit. It's a slog, and I've told a lot of people over the years that to try to do this slowly, most people don't have the emotional endurance to do it slowly. All of us are a little impatient. Come on, just raise your hand and nod now. And all of us are a little impatient, even Christians impatient. And it's something that we want the stuff right away. And so if we don't get that, and we're not attaching that kind of massive action, it's an overused term in this industry, but still, if we're not bringing a lot of action to bear, and we're not getting the result, our emotions get all wonky. And I'm not here to give you a mindset talk tonight, but that will knock more people out of the box than anything else by trying to go slow. I'm just wondering, for everybody watching this, what would really honestly happen inside of your Melaleuca business if you literally did everything you could do to expose people to this opportunity and to these products? I mean,
yeah.
What would happen really? And when you go to sleep at night, this what drives me. I mean, I'm chasing Christian, right? So I want to be up there with Christian, But I move at a pace and get obsessed with the idea that I want to. If I put my head down at night and I go, did I really do everything I could do? Did I have every conversation that I could have, or was I worried about impression management? I didn't want somebody to think I was weird, but did I really do everything I could do? And I think what Christian's getting at here is it's very easy for those of us from the internet marketing side to think, okay, what screen can I hide behind to create some magical link video, pop-up plugin, PPC, whoop-de-doo, and that way it'll all happen. It'll be like Field of Dreams. I'll build it. They'll come, and I will never have to open my mouth. Friend, you're in Melaleuca now. So am I. So is Christian. Guess what? You're going to have to open your mouth and talk to people because it's the fastest way to a result.
It is.
I've had more people in my group getting results. I mean, I got people right on the verge of director, like multiples. And my advice to them, Gary, what was the secret training? Go out and start talking to people, tell the story. What is the old advice from back in the way back day? Show the plan. Well, what would you do? What would your business look like? Here in the end of February, what is it now, Christian? February 9th? What would happen if you absolutely, and again, it's not a rah-rah talk. I just want to be real with you. What would happen if you gave everything you could, all cylinders, whether it's a video, a Facebook Live, an invite to your family, a home party, talking to the person next to you at the dance recital, whatever. Talk to everybody. What would happen? And I love tech. Come on now. I've been doing that for a long time. But I tell you what, you give me a phone and you give me some people to talk to, I'm going to beat your video every day. Every day, I'm going to get somebody in faster. I know we love the tech. I'm with you. But the again, overused, but the massive action thing works for a reason because it creates momentum. All right, I'm done on that soapbox.
It's also easier. Just one little add-on to what you're saying there. Yeah. This whole massive action thing is easier. If you just think about it for a second, let me assume, and I really think we have it easy. You and I have it easy compared to most of the people in the group. I'm just going to be real for a second. Yeah. I remember what it was like to get up early, work my tail off, sweat and sometimes bleed at work, come home, 2-hour commute each way, and I am just beat down. I walk through the door. The last thing on my mind is to start working on a business. Just somebody hand me the remote and some food and a shower, please. I understand a lot of the people that we work with have something like that as their day-to-day reality. They have to carry buckets, right? They got to keep the income coming in while they start to work on their pipeline. And it is excruciating. It can be like the hardest thing in the world to carry buckets all freaking day, get home and start working on your pipeline. But please understand, if you can psych yourself out temporarily, anybody can do this. In my opinion, anybody can do a 90-day run. If you just go, you know what? If I don't take massive action, if I don't make a commitment, what's going to change? I'm going to slog along and, eventually pick some business up. The bummer is you kind of set the pace for your group, and what you do tends to duplicate. So unless you kind of get lucky, mostly what you'll inspire is other people to kind of grind it out a little bit here and there. And like Gary said, they don't have the emotional fortitude to actually stick it out long enough to conquer the mountain. If you charge into this and you psych yourself out, so you get home and you're like, okay, till 8 o'clock, I got 2 hours. I'm going to run hard as I can. What you'll find is when you get in the zone mentally and you make that first call, it's actually so much easier to make the next call immediately. You hang up and you're right on the phone again. Then you hang up and you're right on the phone again. If you can get yourself into that groove, imagine this, after work or before work or however, whatever your life is like, you fit this in purposely, 1, 2, 3 hours at a time, where you force yourself to do this thing that doesn't feel natural, and maybe for a lot of you, and it takes a lot of, you got to conquer this fear and push through and get going. I'm telling you, if you push through and then you force yourself to keep going, and you can sustain that for a few weeks or a few months, you're there. You will build a business and it will come together quickly. And it is so much easier than this whole slow thing.
With that in mind, Christian, you had mentioned earlier when we were talking, what are some things that folks, whether they're brand new that are watching this right now, or they've been in for a minute, but they've already stalled a little bit. And listen, we're not shouting you down if you stalled. It happens. It's easy to get trapped and there's a lot going on. What are some resources back office wise, Christian, right now inside Melaleuca back office?
Yep.
You would say to somebody to plug into to run?
The single best thing I could recommend, even if you've already seen this, if you're with us tonight and you're like, oh yeah, they're right. Okay, I'm going to do this. Part of what I would do to kind of psych myself out is I would go back and watch that pace setter video, the foundations video. One of my friends, he's like a brother to me, Taylor. I was talking to him about this the other day. He finally watched it. I told him, hey, knucklehead, you need to go watch this. He finally watches it. He reaches back out to me, and I'm not going to say exactly what he said here because it was profane. But it was profane in an awesome way, though.
Right.
He was like, dude, whoever put that video together, bleepity bleep, unbelievable. Like, that is the best thing I've ever seen. I've never seen any company put a resource together better. It blew me away. I was just going to shop. Now I'm referring people because that video, holy cow, unbelievable. If you haven't seen the pace setter video, there's 2 reasons you want to watch it. One is so you can qualify for double bonuses. It's significant. The other is to just get your head right. That's what hits me, Gary. I think if one thing, I would say go do that. Start there.
Absolutely. And I think with Christian saying get your head right, if you're coming from a different world or maybe you're brand new to this whole thing, the reality is you need to have some sense of the field that you're playing on. You need to know what uniform you're wearing, what's your jersey, what you're doing. And by going through that pace setter video and a couple of these other resources that we're going to share with you and remind you about, some of us are so in a hurry to try to get a result that we forget we're like running out the door and we forget to put our pants on. Okay. That's the equivalent of trying to do this without, I don't have time for pace setter. I'll learn to earn. I don't care. I'm going to go out and recruit 30 a day. Well, that's great, but you're not wearing pants. Okay. So you need to put some pants on, get dressed. And part of that is, let me look at the pace setter video. And especially for somebody like me, and Christian even maybe has this sometimes. He's kind of a Zen guy now. He's kind of like that at level, but me, maybe some of you are the same way. It's easy for some of us that have been around the block for a minute to utter these horrible words. Oh yeah, I know that. Wrong answer. No, you don't. If you think that you know it, that's a great sign you don't. And here's the reality. Go into these videos with beginner mind, right? I'm not trying to get Zen on you again. So, but I mean, seriously, go in with a mindset that says, you know what? I'm brand new to this place and I want to learn everything there is to learn because I want to crush it out. You didn't join Melaleuca to suck, all right? You didn't. You joined it to do something great, all right? You're looking at your family. If you're coming off your day job and you're hustling at night doing the side hustle, you're not looking at them going, hey, you know what? I started this so I could be away from you a little bit more in the evening and grind so that I could get no results. Doesn't that sound awesome? No, it doesn't sound awesome. So put your uniform on and understand that the Pace Setter video is a great thing about that. Christian, I think that Learn to Earn plays into this too, about becoming familiar with the product that you're sharing. Can you speak to that for a few minutes about why you think that's important for the brand new person?
Yeah, and think about, I like to think about this from two levels. So one, it's entertaining, it's engaging for me, it's enjoyable. I learn stuff. It makes me want to try the products that I watch the videos on. You should see the box we got from Melaleuca today. It was huge. I'm sure Kristen spent at least $200 with the company, at least.
That's awesome.
And I blame the Learn to Earn videos, at least in part. But think about what happens as you start to refer people and build a business. When people tune in, there's an immediate value exchange. You watch the video, you get $4 or $8 or something in store credit. Awesome. Give me more. I'm going to watch all of them. Well, when people do that, it gets them here, it gets them here. They're going, oh man, I want to try that. I want to smell that. I want to taste that. I want to see how that works on the spot on the carpet or whatever the deal is. Your customers, as soon as they step in the door, this is what I visualize. Part of what Learn to Earn does is we bring customers to the front door, right? They step in and Melaleuca gets to work immediately pouring concrete around their feet. So they hang out here for a long, long time, shop every month, hopefully till they die, because they're going to buy this stuff from somebody. I think the Learn to Earn engages, retains, it's glue, it's concrete, whatever you want to call it. It's really good, and it helps you. I think it helps me, and hopefully it helps you go, man, this is solid. There's substance here. Like, this is really well thought through. The standard operating procedures, if you just think about the corporate side of things and the decision making that has to happen, the attention to detail that has been there for decades has produced a certain kind of result. And that's why we're all here. These guys haven't been hitting doubles. They've been hitting home runs. They step to the plate and they hit it over the fence almost every time, as far as I can tell. And they've been doing it for decades. So when somebody who's very effective and efficient and very good at what they do, like a Gary Miller, Wes, some of the other guys, Chase, some of the other guys in the group that are really blowing up, when the higher caliber take action right away kind of people see this, they see the retention, the rotor rate, they see things like the Learn to Earn videos, like the Pace Setter video. It doesn't take very long to go, wow, this is serious. This is legit. Very well thought out.
Yeah.
All I got to do is plug in and market.
You talk about legit, and I think that's great, because that also, the more, I don't know, everybody else is probably the same way, if you're honest with it. The more legit something is, you tend to feel more comfortable hanging out, investing your time, your money, your energy into something that you go, this is, and Christian uses this word all the time, and I love it, it's solid. It's not wobbling, and it's been around and it's going to stay around. Real quick, Christian, because I know you and I both have friends in our group here, in this family of our team, that you mentioned tech earlier, that are very tech centric. But in the getting started section of the business center inside of Melaleuca back office is I think some of the best videos I've seen on make a list, invite, follow up, present, all those kinds of things. I think those are incredibly valuable. But I know that there are probably some folks that say, oh, that's not me. I'm going to go rock some SEO. I love SEO. But there's real value there in understanding where we are, and also helping you to get to that open the mouth thing while you're building a tech line of business. Do you
Right.
think there's value for that digital marketer to go, you know what, I need to go in there as a brand new student and learn that stuff?
I think we all have an opportunity to choose to be well-rounded, and I think of it as, if you're a 12-cylinder, V12 engine, and you're only firing on 4 or 5 or 6 of them, or even if you're firing on 8 of them, you're just not doing what you can. You're not killing it.
Yeah.
You're just not. You're kind of half showing up. And hopefully this is instructive. I think people that take time to come check out a Hangout and engage with us here probably want to make more than a few $100 a month. I think most of the people watching this are probably here looking at senior director and that, 4,500-ish a month residual, the car bonus, the, 40, 50, 60 grand you make getting there. And they're going, that looks pretty good. Exec, 150 grand a year, even better. National, whatever that is. I think most of us have bigger goals. And if you're like that and you're choosing not to fire on all cylinders, I think it's a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake. Look at Gary, look at me, look at any of the leaders in the group right now. I think everybody, I don't think anybody that has made Director 2, Director 3 or higher. Bobby Baker made Director 7. We found out earlier today, officially made the rank of Director 7.
Awesome.
In a month and a half or whatever it's been. And what's he doing? What are any of the big producers doing? We're talking to our friends and family, unashamedly, unabashedly, happily, excitedly talking to our family and friends. We're emailing our lists. We're starting conversations on Facebook. We're doing everything, right? So if you're some monster internet guy and your take on this right now is, I don't want to talk, I don't want to bug people I know, I would challenge you and just try to stop you right now. Hit pause. Something is wrong up here. If you don't want to talk to people that you know, even if they're bloody and broken, even if you've beat yourself up and them up for years, if you don't naturally have that urge, my guess would be that you probably haven't seen the Pacesetter video. You probably haven't watched any or many of the Learn to Earn videos. You haven't really engaged, because if you do, I think it's pretty natural, even for all of us that have been bloody and broken over and over again, to walk in the front door here at Luke and go, oh man, this just feels good. It's relevant, it's sensible, it's simple, it's clean. I have to tell my mom. I don't even care if they pay me. I'm telling my mom. She would love this. She would love to shop here.
I told you, Christian, tonight, for the first time in our whole experience in this industry, we're enrolling Crystal's mom tonight. Like,
that's awesome.
Like, that's nuts, right? And it was a funny side note, and I want to talk about some presenting things and some inviting things to keep us on track. But Crystal was having a conversation with her the other night, and what does Crystal do? It wasn't quite there yet. So she's like, well, hold on. Let me call Gary. 3-way call action, right? Internet marketer. I'm doing a 3-way call with my wife and her mom, and she's enrolling tonight. Straight up old school. There's a reason why those big old school companies are still the biggest revenue earners in the world. It's because it works.
Yep.
Right? So, Christian, we're talking inviting, we're talking presenting. Let's not forget this.
Yep.
So, everybody, when you're thinking about exposing people to this opportunity, to the products, to the business side, whatever, you're exposing them to Melaleuca. There's a right way to do that. There are many ways, but within the many ways, there's a right way to do it, and there's a not so right way to do it. And so the best case scenario is that you're so enthusiastic, you're just telling the world that's totally cool. We're just going to give you a couple of handrails up the stairs of success here, so you hold on and you'll be cool. The rest of you, if you haven't started, talking to anybody yet, well, then we're going to help you out here too. We talked about presenting and what's the right way. Christian, can you share some thoughts on that? And I'll bounce in when you're done.
Yeah. Let me back you up a step. I think let's talk inviting and then presenting, and what else? Inviting, presenting. What else is on our list? We've got
inviting and presenting, enrolling. Yeah.
Inviting, presenting, enrolling. So let's dig into what we actually planned, because we've been talking for a half hour.
No, those other things were on the list. Have you know?
They were. It took a while. So I'm seeing the comments come in. That's good. Glad you guys are engaging there. Let's start with inviting, and maybe what we can do, Gary, because I think we have a chance to leverage what already exists. And in a lot of ways, in most ways with Melaleuca, what's so cool is we can show up and market. We don't have to do a whole lot else. The training that's in the getting started area is so well executed. It's so carefully put together that if somebody comes to me, when one of my referrals comes to me and says, okay, you know what, I want to do this. I don't say, ooh, this is my chance to wax eloquently for the next hour and do this training. I go, oh, you know what, Melaleuca's training is awesome. Go look at go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go watch all the sections in the getting started area in the business center. So what I'm thinking we could do here, Gary, is you give an example of an approach you've done. I'll give an example of an approach I've done, or an approach you've done a bunch of times that's effective for you. I'll do the same thing. We'll talk a little bit about posture maybe for a minute, but we're going to lean mostly on the getting started area. If you're with us tonight and you're like, ooh, I want to dig in. Yeah, you know what? You guys are right. I want to do this. What we're going to say is you'll learn a thing or two listening to us here. One of the biggest lessons you can take away, though, is, you know what? I need to actually go through the getting started content at Melaleuca. Because you will be armed. You will have, if you're out of envelopes like me, you will end up with lots of envelopes full of stuff front and back.
I didn't know you wrote on envelopes. See, we got to
I write on junk mail. I have screens everywhere, and I don't know. It doesn't feel right if I don't write it.
So I agree. So let's maybe start with inviting this way, Christian. Most of my inviting, most of it has probably started somewhere digitally, but it's personal, everyone. So let me help you understand what that means. If you went out to my personal Facebook feed right now, you would not see me doing 500 posts about lotion or dish tabs or Melaleuca. Okay. That's not what's there. What I am doing as part of the precursor to invitation is simply opening up my world to questions about the ramifications of these products that we use. Okay, that was a mouthful. Let's put it this way. I am simply starting conversations about products we already use, that everybody already uses. For instance, when I was talking to Crystal's mom, I asked her, I said, from the time you wake up to the time you actually sit down to the kitchen table, what are products that you use every single day? Simple. And she told me, oh, well, I do this, I do this, and I do this, and I do that. And then we start a conversation about, well, what if it was 30 to 50% less and it was something that was healthier, greener, and safer? Would you think I was nuts, or would you at least take a look at it? Oh, yeah, sure, I'll take a look at it. Great. That's an exposure. Okay. It's really that simple. That's like a warm market hit, right? Or it could be, if it's just from a business builder perspective for me, I just simply tell a very generic version of the story of what we're building and doing here. I leave out the names to protect the innocent or the guilty, and I just tell the story because I know a lot of people, particularly who have been doing this in network marketing. They've been up and down in attrition. I spend a lot of time speaking to pain. So if I get on a Facebook video to start this conversation, I ask my audience, what is your customer retention right now? What is your attrition right now? And that's just a Facebook post, guys. There's nothing techie about it. It's just a post. And amazingly, you'll get conversation, and some people will reach out to you. And I think the best invitation is when I'm simply asking questions and people start drilling me for more information. Christian, does that make sense?
Yeah. So one thing you just said that really sticks out to me is when people think about approaches, I think in most people's minds, they're going, okay, Gary, I want to show you Melaleuca.
Yeah. No.
The way you and I interact with the people that we enroll almost never has anything to do with Melaleuca immediately. We're talking about some other thing, and it's really starting a conversation, right? And then just being attentive to where the conversation's going and looking for a reasonable spot to go, hey, you know what? We should talk about that.
Absolutely. I think I love that you bring up that. I think everybody overthinks this. I mean, the process, and I think that's what makes everybody nervy about it, is they think it's like this chess match and I have to go into this. This is very simple as just listening to it. For my internet friends, it's listening to your audience by just creating little short bits of content. And when I say content, guys, I'm not talking about 1,000-word blog posts or something. I'm talking about 3 to 5 minute videos. Christian and I have done really well with 3 to 5 minute videos with a selfie stick. It's amazing. But it's just asking questions and letting people respond. And it's just having conversations. And And sometimes, guys, it is overt. If you know somebody in the industry, or maybe just a friend or a family member, you can do that old school thing. Hey, you know what? I had to talk to you really quick. Always be in a hurry. I had to talk to you really quick because I just think this is something that you would be awesome at. And you may think I'm nuts. You may think my hair's bad, but how about you take a look at it and let me know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've never, and by the way, if you end the question with the following phrase, no one will ever say no. So I end everything when I ask an invite like that. I'll say, hey, I think that we had two friends of ours that were visiting us last weekend, Christian, we were talking about it. And, Crystal started talking to him about it. These are real sharp people, but never been in this space. And so as we're talking about it, I'm like, hey guys, you know what? I've never shared anything like this with you about what we do, but for some reason, I really feel like you need to take a look at it. Can you spend about 40 minutes looking at a video? Would that be fair? I've never had somebody say to me, no, that's totally unfair. You're an idiot. No. Is that fair? It's the reasonable man clause, or a reasonable woman. Or, hey, would that be fair? Yeah, of course, Gary, that'd be fair. Especially with people you know. This takes all the edge off. No one's going to say to you, no. I say this all the time. Hey, if will you take a look at this? I mean, would that be fair? And I'll cap it in. I will add the time. So, and part of this is posture, everybody. It's just like, I've been through all the trainings. I know the stuff inside of Melaleuca, so I'm totally sold out, right? So it's easy for me to say that. And I also understand that when I'm making that invitation, if somebody tells me no, my bank account doesn't change at all. If they say yes to me or they're open, it definitely can change. You feeling me? So that's where I go with it.
Yeah. I do the more indirect. I think most often I'm thinking about most of the approaches I've kind of the angle I take when I'm talking to somebody. I think most people have heard me talk about how one way to look at this, and I think a very soft way to broach the whole subject of Melaleuca, is to look at it this way. I found this manufacturer that is awesome. They really do a great job with their brand. We have tried the brand and we love it. And they share revenue if you tell people. If you refer customers, they'll give you money. It's pretty killer. Want to look at it?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, so check out what he did, though. Let me dissect that for everybody. So one, it's just very simple stuff that's non-abrasive, right? I know we talk about cleaners a lot now in Melaleuca, but it's not abrasive. Nothing about that's abrasive. But then it's just a simple, do you want to take a look at it? And almost with Christian, now you got to understand Christian's got that vibe, right? He's got that kind of, what me worry, whatever. He lives in Hawaii, and it totally works, right? So it's, hey, you want to take a look at it? You can almost put in parentheses when he says that, whatever. And
right.
You know what? People are like, well, yeah. I mean, obviously, look how many people Christian sponsors, right? But the other side of that is no matter what approach you're taking and what medium you're doing it in, you're talking to a person. We're in a much more personal presenting mode now than many of us have been accustomed to. I'm going to give you like a little tip here, and this maybe I don't want to get too down the rabbit trail, but I don't think Christian will mind. When it comes to just raw talking to people on Facebook, for example, let me tell you what your best friend is for inviting and exposing people is the voice chat in Messenger. Don't ever type this stuff out if you can. Use the voice. Yeah. Why? Because people can hear your inflections. People can hear like your own goofiness, your own style. People connect with you. It's much less spammy. Because think about it. You've never had somebody, even if they told you 50 times about their favorite restaurant, but they told you with their mouth, you never walked away and were like, I don't like them. They're so spammy to me. No, they're just telling you. So right. When you're having a conversation and using your voice, it's totally different.
What about GIFs? What about the strategic use of GIFs?
What? Oh, GIFs. Yes. That's a separate training, and we cannot talk about this right now. Very, very complicated. But I think at the heart, though, Christian, I think at the heart of it is just, it's listening, and it's posture, and it's just as simple as, most of us are so deathly afraid of someone saying no. Mm-hmm. Most of what stops you from talking to people about this is not that the products aren't cool. It's not that the team's not cool. It's because you're absolutely petrified of someone going no. And
so how could we quickly help somebody gain a whole new kind of confidence? Maybe somebody that's been around home business before, they've joined a bunch of things, they they keep thinking, oh man, yeah, it would be amazing if I could get my house and car and a few other things paid for on autopilot every month. They kind of catch some version of the dream, but then they freeze. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with they aren't fully sold in their own minds, their own hearts, really. Mm-hmm. So one of the ways that I like to I've worked with people on and off over the years doing this, I try to paint this picture where they go, oh, I never saw it that way. Oh man, yeah, I'm all over this. I get it now. And this is really simple. And I don't want to get too deep on this because we really need to keep moving here, but this is a big deal. If you visualize that village that needs water, I think maybe everybody's here. I'm going to do it real quick so we have it in this video though. You got a village that needs water. Let's say they're looking to hire a couple of people to bring them water. They approach Gary and I, and the person running the show in the village says, hey, Gary and Christian will pay $1 a gallon to bring water from the river to the village. We both say, cool, count me in, I'm on it. I go into the woods and find a tree to put across my shoulders, and I'm carrying buckets and I'm roughing it. I'm getting calluses, I'm bleeding a little bit, I'm sweating. I feel good. And by the way, I'm not making that up. When I was plumbing, I used to be a plumber. I loved that hard physical labor. It just felt honest. It felt good. It felt good to sweat. I was doing it. I took pride. I thank my parents for the work ethic push and the taking pride in my work and doing it the right way the first time and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I'm carrying buckets, right? I start making trips. I'm making money. I mean, before the sun goes down that very first day, I'm getting paid. I delivered water. I traded some water for some money, and I do that every day. I get a little better. I find the best route. I'm getting this dialed in. I get to the point where I've saved up enough for a big screen TV so I can chill on the weekends and watch football or whatever. Right? I'm getting in. I'm dialed in. I'm working. Gary disappears. And days go by, weeks go by, a couple months go by. I wake up one day and I hear this sound, this rumble off in the distance. I'm getting ready to get out the door and start making my trips back and forth. On my way down to the river, off in the distance, I see Gary with an engineer, some hired help, a backhoe, supplies, all this stuff. Turns out he's been building this pipeline from the river to the village. And in that moment, everybody goes, what? Whoa. So what I tell the people I'm working with, Gary, is I say, you're building a pipeline. I just had this conversation a couple days ago. Gal, an old friend of mine, really beat up, hits me up on Facebook. Man, I'm hitting this, but I'm hurting. I'm really hurting. And I say, I'm not at all surprised. You work every day, you work all day long, and then you get home and you're working your pipeline. You haven't made a dime. You're spending money. You're bleeding. Sounds terrible, but exciting, right? So this confidence can come from this new perspective where you're going, wait a minute, whoa, you're right. If I don't do something different, I will carry buckets. And there's nothing wrong with carrying buckets. It's good, honest work. It's fine. But you have a choice. You don't have to carry buckets till the day you die. You don't have to. You can carry buckets. You can keep doing that and start working on your pipeline in the evenings or in the mornings or whenever your schedule allows. And if you get that in your head, then the next time you talk to your brother or your neighbor or that person that gives you a hard time about the home business stuff, say, dude, I'm building a pipeline. And I've done that with people.
Yeah.
What do you do? I build pipelines.
That's awesome. That's so good.
I'm kind of messing with you. I market, I work with a manufacturer, but I think of it as pipelines versus buckets. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, let me tell you. I haven't heard this story. Let me tell you. And when you get done telling that story, at least in my experience, people go, I think what people are thinking is, whoa, he sounds smart. That sounds good. I have no idea what you actually used to build pipelines, but whatever that, count me in. I want in on that. I want to build a pipeline. And then you can say whatever you want to say next. You almost can't say the wrong thing at that point, but there's a lot of ways you can approach this conversation where you can make this invitation, coming to things like this, watching things like this, digging into the resources at Melaleuca, Trust us. You dig in, your mind will start to get right. You'll start to get excited. You'll start to gain some confidence. It's not that big of a deal. It's pretty straightforward stuff. So let's talk about presenting. Unless you had something you have to cap on to the end of inviting.
No.
Good? Okay. Presenting. So there's this whole thing in Melaleuca. We will talk about lingo just for a minute here, also in a minute, but presenting. That's a thing at Melaleuca, more so than anything I've ever been a part of, Gary. I think it's pretty normal to have a presentation. You pop the tape into the VCR and you hit play, or depending on how vintage you are. These days it's send me the link for the show, the pitch, for the whatever. Melaleuca has a history of paying a lot of attention to detail. The presentation, the slide deck that you might have seen Gary do, you might have seen me do. Some of you guys have team leaders that are blazing a trail quickly ahead of you that have done their own recorded presentation, or maybe a live presentation. Maybe you saw it in your friend's living room. However you saw it, what I'm hoping you saw is the slide deck that's available in the download and print center in the business center in the back office, because every word on every page matters. That formula, that slide deck in that order, Melaleuca has found produces a certain kind of result consistently. So if you want the results, if you want that high stick rate, the reorder, the retention, the understanding from your new enrollment of what a backup order even is, why the whole auto ship thing is foreign to Melaleuca. There isn't an auto ship. This is a shopping club. You come push a cart up, and this is how I visualize it. You push a cart up and down the aisles in the Melaleuca store, and you look at your list and you get what you need. It's just like going to the store, but it's quicker and easier and better. I got lost. What was I saying?
No, well, what we're speaking to is Melaleuca has a psychology, if you will, and a lot of roots planted in how they do that, the content in that presentation. The good news is even if you don't know all that stuff, or even if you're wildly uncomfortable presenting, what's great on our team is Christian's got a couple different versions of the presentation at this point. I know the most recent one is spoken. I have a version of the presentation, whatever. You can do your own. But the point is, even if you're uncomfortable with that, they already exist. But your folks deserve, people you share this with, whether they just want to look at product and be a shopper, or they want to do maybe a category 2 or 3, they deserve the whole story. Okay. And so, and when someone has the whole story, they become a lot stickier if they're going to run with you. And let somebody, this is classic right out of like GoPro, right? Point to a third party, let somebody else tell the story. And that is exactly what this does. But make sure you might love, for instance, the toothpaste or the soap. Don't just, simply hammer spam your wall about toothpaste and buy it from me now. Love the enthusiasm. But imagine what would happen. Selling one thing of toothpaste is cool, but what happens if they saw the whole video and decided to buy a pack and really do something and be a connected customer over time? And if they do that, it's better for you and it's better for them.
Yep. So let's boil this down in presentations real quick. It's proper to take somebody through that whole slide deck, whether you're leveraging a pre-recorded version, you're doing it live, however you're doing it, as long as you're using that, and you really don't have to do much more than read the words on the slides and flip, read the words on the slides, keep going. That's the proper way to show somebody Melaleuca. Once you've made the approach, you've gotten their interest peaked, and they're ready to actually see the details. That's how we would recommend sharing the details. So you get to this point of enrollment. Couple main real world options, at least in North America. For our friends that are overseas, paperwork is what you got to do. Till the computer systems are talking to each other internationally, paperwork's what you got to do. It's not a big deal. It's a little weird, but Gary's done it. I've done it.
Yes,
it's not bad.
It's not bad.
But I'd say it's worth getting international business started. It's pretty fun. So online enrollments. I think a lot of you guys started that way, so you're already familiar with that. You received an email from Melaleuca or a link from your friend who invited you to enroll. and you clicked on the link and you go through the steps. You set up your shopping account and then you do your shopping. It's pretty cut and dry. The other option, and just in case you're not aware, if you have a friend who used to shop with Melaleuca years ago, and you'll find them, you'll run across them out there, and every single time this has happened for me, the conversation goes something like this. Hey, Michelle, I want to show you this manufacturer that I'm working with lately. I'm helping them with some marketing. They've got a killer brand. Kristen and I shop with them. It's awesome. It's really good stuff. We thought of you. They also pay for referrals, and it's actually really cool. So I want to show this to you. How do you want me to get you the link? I want you to look at this. And she goes, okay, cool. Send her the link. 2 minutes later, she comes back and she goes, Melaleuca! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation.
Yep.
I'm ready. I want in. And then the story usually is I moved, I got divorced, something happened, something significant in my life happened. Somehow I got disconnected, but I keep thinking about all the things that I miss buying. Every single time that's been the case. So when you run into that, the other way you would handle an enrollment, and this is actually a really big point. This is a re-enrollment. If your friend, Michelle in this case, my example, Michelle had already been a customer 5, 10, 20 years ago, and she is ready to re-enroll now with me. You call Express Verification. That number is on our list in the file section, the handy links and phone numbers and stuff. It's right there. So you call Express Verification with your friend on the line. You just say, hey, Mel, look, I've got my friend Michelle on the line. She would like to re-enroll. Not reactivate, not resurrect her old shopping account. She wants to start over. She wants to re-enroll. There's a difference. If you said, hey, my friend Michelle wants to reactivate her account, what will happen, sorry to tell you, is she will get hitched back to whoever she was originally tied to with the company. So make sure you're clear on that. I want to re-enroll my friend Michelle. And as long as Michelle, or your new customer here, has been out of the system for at least 6 calendar months, as long as she hasn't shopped for anything in the last 6 months with Melaleuca, you're good. You can re-enroll your friend and get them going. But the only way to do that is by calling that toll-free number. Express Verification is who you want to call at Melaleuca, and they'll help you get that done. So I don't know, is there really much else to say about enrolling? I don't think so.
And I think we've got lots of resources in our Facebook group, both videos, screen shares, and in the file section that'll get you covered for all your enrollments.
Yeah, so don't be a wussy. Look at those.
Hey, so as we're wrapping up, and we told you this first one was going to be longer, but we're coming up to about the top of the hour.
Yep.
Any thoughts, questions, anything that we can answer live? And by the way, if you see this in replay and you've got questions, that's cool. Post them in the thread, and I'm sure one of the leaders here will get around to it. So if you have any, this would be the time. And yeah,
I'm looking at some questions here. Michelle says, is Christian's version of the slide deck available somewhere for us? Yes. Wes answered already. Thanks, Wes. We'll have to have you out here sometime, Wes. You trailblazer, you.
Absolutely.
17 enrollments last month. Are you kidding me?
Boom.
17 personals, no less. Wes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I see Marcy commenting here. Marcy's off to a fast start. Good to see you here, Marcy.
Yes, she's awesome.
Dan says, nothing you said sounded MLM-ish. Thank you, Dan. Work to avoid that. You know, you and I were talking earlier I see some people are typing here. If you have questions, feel free to throw them into the comments in that thread. The post that Gary made earlier has the big red live image there. So that's the appropriate place to ask questions. But we were talking earlier about lingo. So while we're letting some questions filter in here.
Yeah, that's important.
This whole distributor, this whole, well, a lot of us have been around work from home kind of things. And the common lingo out there is auto ship, sign people up. You know, you and I become distributors, things like that. And the details really matter. I was having a conversation with a lady I didn't really fully realize until we were 5-10 minutes into the conversation that she had been in a party plan MLM kind of a thing where you literally have all your friends over and you do parties, and that's kind of basically the main business model. That's the main way you propagate and you make sales and stuff. So in my conversation with her, I was careful not to use the word distributor at all. I said, I'm a shopper and I refer shoppers, and that's really it. And she tried to call me out on it. She said, so wait a minute, you say, so you're a rep, you're a distributor. And I said, no, I'm being serious here. I'm just a customer. And there's two versions of customers, I guess, at Melaleuca. There's the kind that refer people, and there's the kind that don't. It's pretty straightforward. And she drilled in, I think, trying to kind of back me into a corner in a nice way. And I said, no, I don't distribute stuff. I love the toothpaste. I love the Gold Bar. I love this. I love that. The Peak Performance stuff. Wow, I love that stuff. But I'm not trying to sell you that right now. I don't have inventory at the house. I don't have anything in my car to sell you. I'm just telling you, I like the brand, and I think you would like it too. And you might want to set up a shopping account and go push a cart around and get some stuff, And it's really disarming if you have it that way in your head, and you're careful not to say words like distributor, because words have meaning, and what a lot of people will hear. And you might never be aware of this, but what a lot of people hear is, I got to buy inventory. I got to lug it around. I got to show it off. I got to sell stuff. I have to distribute stuff. And we don't do that. That's never happened at Melaleuca. You're just a customer that likes the brand, and maybe you refer friends, maybe you don't. How about auto ship? Auto ship's a big one. Signing up. We enroll customers. We refer customers. We don't sign people up and put people on auto ship. There is no auto ship at Melaleuca. There's a backup order that I think us old timers, we can come in and kind of confuse backup order over here with auto ship over here. The whole sign up and put people on auto ship thing is not something Melaleuca has ever done. It really is a shopping club. This is a proactive, bring your grocery list and get what you need kind of a thing. And as long as we're careful to explain it that way, why would we mess with that? Maybe you're watching this going, oh, shut up. That's a really fine line. We're distributors, and there is auto ship. No, seriously, there isn't. And if you're saying that, then you're messed up. And this isn't going to go as well. This isn't going to go as well as you want it to, right? Right, Gary?
Christian and I had this discussion a couple of weeks ago, and even I admit it, I slipped into it because I'm so used to that kind of nomenclature of MLM, and so we were having a voice text back and forth. He's like, hey man, love you, and you're doing great, but by the way, we're not distributors. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, okay, fine, whatever. But it's true, and I really appreciated the correction because it is different. And what it means for the people that you're sharing this with, friends, is if they are people that have been kind of beaten up in MLM, this language that we're using makes people feel a lot safer, because this is something Christian said a few weeks back that I just loved. This is a place where nobody gets hurt. And people need to understand that. And one of the ways you usher in that, and it's not just a parsing of words, one of the ways you do that is by saying, hey, we're customers. That's what we do here. And we just invite people to shop too. That feels better. And I know you were just speaking to that story, but it really feels better to somebody than I'm going to load down the inventory and we're going to be a distributor. And that feels better to them.
And put people on auto ship and all that. Auto ship, I see somebody is typing and never hitting enter. Whoever that is, please hit enter, Sam, in the Facebook group. Auto ship real quick while we're waiting for more stuff to come up here. Auto ship to most people has this, it looks a certain way. To me, auto ship means I get something, usually the same thing, in the mail over and over and over and over again until I cancel it. And I actually do literally think about it that way. The words "until I cancel it" are part of auto ship for me. That's just what it means to me. And I think for most people, that's normal. Well, I'm going to get on it and then I'm going to cancel it at some point. So there are reasons to really follow suit, and you will never hear any of the trainers in the back office say the word auto ship unless they're saying it like we are and they're taking hammers and beating it up. That's the only time you would ever hear somebody use the word auto ship. because this is a shopping club. It really is. All right, Dan Horn. Mellow stats are 88% of customers. Wow, 88% just shop. Am I reading what you're saying here, Dan? Am I seeing this right? 88% of Melaleuca participants literally just shop. Of those, 66% have not referred anybody ever. 22% have referred a couple friends or family. Only about 12%, or only literally 12%, are actively building a business with intention. That's out of 1.6 million customers. Thank you, Dan. I want to shout out to Dan real quick. Dan and I are old friends. Dan's a high director rank with the company, a director 7 or director 9 or something, aren't you, Dan? He has been here a couple years and has done very well. And appreciate you, Dan. He's a wealth of knowledge. So thank you for commenting here. 88% are only 88% of participants are just shoppers. Oh man, Gary, I gotta say this. I still see people typing. So what happens in MLM? What happens in MLM? Let's say that, Gary, you build a team to 1,000 people. Well, let's be real. You build a team to 10,000 people. Takes you a year, a couple years, whatever. You build that team, you do the work. The question is no longer, will Gary and Crystal Miller do the work? You've done it, you've proven it, that's what you're going to do. That's a foregone conclusion. You're going to do the work.
Right.
The interesting question is, you and I know 90-ish% will not make a dime. They will not make money.
Yep.
And another way to say it is they will fail. They'll fail to make money. Okay, it's just being real. So you have 10,000 people on your team. We know about 9,000 people won't make money. Out in traditional home business, what does that usually mean? Really? That means most of them are gone pretty quick, within a few months, right?
Massive attrition.
Gone. Like they cancel that auto ship. They're out of there.
Yeah.
They cancel the subscription, whatever it is, they're out. Because the thing they came here for, they didn't get. And the crazy thing is, anybody with half a brain knows that that's how the story is going to end. You know, the data is abundant. We know that's how it's going to end. So here's the interesting thing. Dan's throwing these statistics out. Gary, we build a team of 10,000 people here in Melaleuca. 9,000 of them won't make a dime.
Yeah.
Then what? They keep shopping.
They keep going. Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
And they're happy. And they shop for years on average.
What's interesting about that, if for those of you that geek out like I do about this industry as a whole, this is a massively hot topic. I will not go down this rabbit trail. Christian will never have me on again if I do. But if you look at the legal landscape of MLM in 2017, customer to business builder distributor ratios is a massive issue. It happened in Herbalife. It happened in Vima. It's going to continue to be a discussion. And talk about safe. For those of you who are hardcore builders, you don't have that problem here, because that stat that he just posted, I'm taking a screenshot of that, Dan. It's awesome. Because that is, talk about safe. It's very safe. And that keeps you in a nice, sweet spot for compliance for those of us that think about such things.
It really reinforces, Dan. I appreciate you posting that, because another thing I'm thinking about right now is this 2 and 20 game plan, which we'll save for a different hangout. But the 2 and 20 game plan basically states you refer 20 shoppers on average. A couple of them will run with you, and they actually should really run and go beyond director. They probably will want to do 2 and 20 themselves. What I'm reading into Dan's, it just totally jives with my personal experience so far. About 10% want to really go. Maybe another 10, 15% are like, ooh, I got to tell my sister, I got to tell my mom, I got to tell my neighbor. They might not quite make it to director, but they're happy shoppers, and they'll refer a few other happy shoppers. Healthy, right? Really healthy. Okay, what else? So Jeff Miller, Dan, again, thank you for pointing this out. Jeff Miller is an 8-figure earner, somewhere not too far above me and the support team here. It's another terminology, another lingo thing. We don't call it upline or downline. We call it support team and organization. So in our support team, there's a guy named Jeff Miller who has made over $16 million. I'm reading Dan's comment here. He was written up in the most recent magazine. Hopefully you guys are getting those and enjoying the Leadership in Action magazine. So Jeff Miller has personally referred 150 people in 20 years. 19 of those 150 are building a business. But he has a total of 19,000 customers in his organization and has made over $16 million. You know, part of the reason stories like that exist and are common actually in Melaleuca is because what you build sticks, and you can do this. You can gradually build and grow something that sticks and grows. You have a chance to grow because they're not going out the back doors as fast as they come in the front door.
Awesome. What great stats. Thanks for sharing that. That's amazing.
Yeah, good stuff. We got to cut this off though. I mean, before we got started, I said, Gary, we got to keep this to like a half hour. He said, ooh, I'm so glad to hear you say that. We need to do that.
But disclaimer, guys, hold on. Now, he's not telling you the whole rest of the story. I said, though, in my notes after he got talking to me, I said, dude, I'm putting a question mark next to 30 minutes for this first one because there's just a lot of let's get it sorted. So,
yeah, and it's okay. I think I'm watching the viewer count here. I don't know if you've had an eye on that this whole time, and people are sticking. And I think part of the reason is if you're bothering to come here in the first place, you are engaged and you do care.
Yep.
And you're either working or you're going, oh, you know what? I am going to do this. I was going to, now I'm sure I'm going to.
Yep.
So hopefully this added value to your Thursday evening.
Hope so.
This is something Gary and I will be doing on a regular basis, same time, same address, same day, next week. And as those of you who work your way up the ranks, you know, we'll have more. There's room for, I think, 10 of us on these Hangouts, Gary. So
yeah, right on.
It'd be fun to add some of the up-and-coming leaders as you guys go prove yourselves. And Janella, man, you threw that question in. Now I'm not going to be able to end it without answering that question.
Janella is a rock star, though. Whoop, whoop.
Last question, Janella. Okay. Do you always lead with the business opportunity or the products or the customer side? And I think we would both answer it the same way. I mean, it depends on who I'm talking to.
That's right.
Rule of thumb, though, is don't judge because, I mean, I try not to decide for Gary, oh, Gary's just going to be a shopper, you know, or Gary's going to be a builder. I don't know. The cool thing about the presentation, if you're actually leveraging the presentation, is it hits all of it. All I got to do is approach Gary however I think fits best. Gary and I are friends. I'd probably say, dude, I'm seriously building a pipeline. Finally, after all these years. Like, for real, I'm building, you've got to see this pipeline.
Yep.
And Gary would go, okay, yeah, show me the pipeline. That'd be kind of our conversation.
Totally. Yeah, I think
if it's,
oh, go ahead, Christian, sorry.
If it's my mom or my brother or you know, a local friend, like I've done a number of times here locally, I'll just say, hey, Kristen and I have been shopping with this manufacturer that ships stuff right to the door. It's awesome. These guys have great stuff, and it's the kind of stuff you use every day. We were in a bathroom, you know, getting ready for the day, and you crossed my mind because I think you'd really like this deodorant, you'd really like this toothpaste. That's weird, but you gotta look at this stuff. And most, you know, I think in every case, I don't think I've ever been shut down. I think in every single case, they're like, oh, yeah, I'll look at it. I send it over.
Yeah.
So I think it depends, John.
Yeah.
All right.
Agree.
Now let's cap it off.
All right.
Thank you, Gary. I'm so happy to have a Hangout buddy.
I love it, man. I love it. Thanks for having me here. You guys, this team is awesome, and it's growing like crazy. So exciting things to come for sure.
Yep. Thank you, guys. We'll see you around the group. And any questions that filter in after, Gary and I'll keep an eye on those. And
definitely,
you know, there are other team leaders around the group. You know, if you can help out with questions, please do.
For sure.
Thanks, you guys. We'll see you around.
Yep.